In this video, we're covering the first round of the new Exhibition Manufacturer Series here at Autopolis. Let's see if we can put a stop to the rot and get a decent result here. Hey guys, and welcome along to another video. If this is your first time here and you're watching all sorts of sim racing related stuff, subscribe now and click the bell icon so you get notified of every video I upload and you don't miss a thing. You join me here in qualifying for the first round of the new Exhibition Manufacturer Series here at Autopolis. Now, I've changed up my quali strategy. Basically, I've simplified it. I used to, prior to this, put in a banker and then try and work out how long I needed before I could come in and then put some fresh tyres on and then push for one final time. Now, that wasn't working for me, so I simplified it as I say. So I spent a lot of this qualifying session burning fuel, literally circulating in first gear, banging it off the rev limiter, staying out of everybody's way, giving myself just enough time for 2 hot laps as time expires. This new strategy appeared to work for me, as even with a scrappy lap I put myself in second for the start of this one, 6/10 behind that Porsche, the fellow Brit, up in first. So I'm sitting behind the pole sitter at the moment. Coming down into the first corner, he's going to remain defensive, so I try and undercut, thinking about the inside line for turn number 2. Now I think it would have worked had he not gotten on the low pedal just a little bit too much, meaning I had to get out of the throttle to avoid contact. But that's fine, it's a long race in Gran Turismo terms, and I'm going to try and put him under some serious pressure to see if we can force him into some sort of mistake. So as we come through here into the hairpin there, he does leave the door open slightly, he runs a little bit wide again. So we are going to try and challenge him for this, just to try and keep this pressure on. Now, coming out of turn 9 and 10 here, I get a bit of a slider which is going to compromise my run down into probably the best passing point other than the front stretch on this track, turn number 11 again. Running wide a little bit there, he's really feeling the pressure from me right now. And as we come down here into turn number 12, the mistake that we wanted arrives. He's going to go wide there coming into turn number 12, so we're going to go for it up the inside. There is a bit of contact though, due to the speed that I was carrying on the way in. I wasn't really expecting him to go wide at that point, but I tried to give him as much room as possible, but the back end actually stepped out as well, and I had to correct it, leading to a little bit of contact. But either way, I'm in the lead of a motor race for the first time on this channel in a very, very long time. It's going to be important to see now, as we cross the line to finish lap number 1, to see if I can build a gap and bring home the first win on this channel in a long time. Now, as I take the lead here, I'm a bit confused as to where the Brits' race pace has gone. Now, I had a scrappy lap in quali, granted, so I would have thought I would have had a shot at pole with a clean lap, but even so, I'm pulling away quite nicely here, well over a second ahead of him at this point, even though admittedly I'm quite nervous too. I want to make sure that after a crap run of results, I want to bring home a decent result on the channel. So yeah, a little bit confused by that one. I guess all will be revealed later on in the race. Jumping forward to the start of lap number 3 here, things are looking good, and we've got a 2.4 second gap to the Brit behind. Now, this is why bad streaks aren't actually that bad once you get over them, because in this case my SR is tanked and I'm now actually racing with lower ranked guys. Now, no disrespect to them, but whilst it's good for my morale, it's not doing anything for for my quest to get to a live event. So, using a kind of analogy, a football one that everyone will know, I feel like, sort of like when a Premier League football team like Newcastle United, for example, most recently, got battered all year, they then got relegated and then won every week on their way back up to the Premier League. It is a massive morale boost, at least for the fans, or at least for myself, and that is what I'm relating to right now. Plus, unlike the Nations Cup, this is still an exhibition season. The Nations Cup has actually started and it's the real thing. And as we're concentrating on the Manufacturers series that I mentioned in my podcast style video last week, we still have time to get our SR back up in time for showtime when the real season rolls around. Now, I'm going to get a penalty. Things were looking so good as well. Now, I'm not going to go into it. I've had my say on it and I've had enough talking about it. So we've got one, fine. What I'm more concerned about is this could bring the Brit, who has been behind us and we've pulled out a decent cushion to, right back into play when I serve it. Moving forward slightly, the time has come to serve our penalty. So here we go, approaching the gate now. Let's see how much time it costs us. Right then, so we've served our penalty. The gap to the guy behind was 3 seconds as we went to serve that penalty. After we've served it, we're now down to 1.6 seconds. So the 9/10 of a second penalty actually cost us 1.3 seconds in reality. But crucially, sticking with the positives, he is still outside of our slipstream, so we can try and get our head down and try and rebuild that cushion and make up the time that we have lost. Fast forwarding slightly here to halfway along the next lap, I just want to touch on strategy. So in this race we're on a one-stop strategy. We started on racing mediums and we're going to pit for more mediums. Now my medium tyres are starting to go off now. The pace you can see is dropping and we are starting to struggle. Now we're coming in at the end of lap 6 here, but worryingly, as you can see up there in the delta in the top left, the Brit has seemed to find some pace here and is beginning to eat up that gap between us. And as we come out the final corner here to start lap number 6, our in lap, the Brit is right behind us now. So I'm going to say super defensive. He's going to try, as you can see, to sell me the dummy there. I'm not having it though, I'm going to stick to the inside, but I've been checking my fuel, so crucially I don't have my radar on at this point. So as I arrived into turn 1, I'm hoping that he wasn't on the outside, but thankfully he wasn't, as I ran deep because of the more acute angle by my defensive entry. He then cut back underneath and we find ourselves down in second place. As he starts pulling away from me, it's beginning to dawn on me, or I ask myself the question, is he on hards? If he was, that would explain the race pace being slower than the qualifying place, and the fact that he's found this pace later in my stint when my tyres are starting to go off. If he has mediums on, he would also be having the same problems as me, but he doesn't. I guess we'll find out at the end of this lap when I come in, as it'll be interesting to see if he comes in as well. So he's going to carry straight on there. As you can see, he's not going to come in, and I just about get the pit entry right, being very ungentlemanly however with the white lines, but we're in. Have a look at that livery. Shout out to you guys on the back of the car there, the channel members. Now for those who don't know, this is an idea that I've had, and quite a cool one I think, whereby if you become a channel member, you get your name in one of the squares or the checks of the car. Now this is just like Jan Lammers' Le Mans car from back in the day. I think I put a picture of it in the podcast video that I did, so if you haven't seen that, go and check that one out. And the main reason I'm doing it as sort of a thank you really, and a bit of recognition to you guys who donate above and beyond what you need to. So guys, if you want your name on there for the next race, click that join button below this video and become a channel member now. But back to the race and back to the action. I've actually come out still in second place. Now I've got an okay cushion, as you can see, to not Visual, Volex Pinkeray. Visual don't exist anymore, but he will crucially be on older tyres, and it will be interesting to see if our theory of the Brit in front being on hards is correct, as dependent on that it will change our strategy for the second half of the race. Now as we come through this probably most difficult corner on the entire circuit, being very, very careful not to get a penalty here, we can see that he is about to come into the pits, and he was on hards as we thought. Now that explains the race pace in comparison to his quali pace and why he ate me up at the end of my stint. Now presumably he will go on to mediums. Let's just check. There he is. He's on mediums, and he is also crucially going to come out in second place, meaning he has a free run at us on those fresher tyres, so we could well be a sitting duck here. Now if he'd come out behind Pinkeray could have held him up, which would have done us a favour, but as he hasn't, I think realistically that's any chance of the win today out of the window, and I think we need to turn our attention now to making sure that we bring home a safe second place. Coming across the line here to start lap number 9, you can see in the delta there that he's taken over a second out of us, and that's on his out lap. So he's now just above 1 second behind us now. So I expect him to be on our rear bumper very, very soon. Rejoining the action here at the end of the lap. As you can see in the radar there, he is right behind us now. So I'm thinking really the game is up. I'm not going to fight it here. He pulls out to the right, as you should. Remember that, guys. I'm going to get out the throttle here to allow him to take the optimal line into turn number 1. Now the reason I've done that is so that he doesn't lose any time, and in turn we don't lose any time. It makes no sense in my mind to battle when we're looking at the bigger picture here of wanting to hold on to second place. Now if we were to battle for a position like this one here, the leader of this race, that we will ultimately lose, we could lose time and get drawn into a battle for second place, which is not what we want at all, and quite frankly just counterproductive and idiotic. So I've just let him through, and as you can see he's already scampering off into the distance, but we've got that decent cushion to Pinkeray, and that is crucial. We're on the final lap now, and as you can see, letting him through was absolutely the right thing to do. He's now almost 3 seconds up the road, and that gap continues to grow and grow, whilst we have stabilised, more importantly, and kept that gap to third place, making our second place safe. If we can bring this home without any mistakes towards the latter end of this lap, I'll be very happy, but I'm keen to hear your thoughts on it and how your guys' opening rounds of the FIA races went. So please do let me know in the comment section down below how you got on. But we have managed not to make any mistakes here. We're going to cross the line for a much needed morale boosting second place. And as a result of that second place, we also got 1600, almost 1700 points in terms of the championship. And that, guys, for me is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.